Job chapter 20. Then Zophar the Naamathite responded and said, "In truth, my troubled thoughts urge me to answer because of my feelings within me. I hear a rebuke that dishonors me, and my understanding inspires me to reply. Do you not know that it has been from old, since mankind was put on earth, that the triumph of the wicked is short, and the joy of the godless is but for a moment? Though his pride reaches to the heavens and his head touches the clouds, he perishes forever like his own dung. Those who have seen him will say, 'Where is he?' Like a dream he flies away, and they cannot find him. Like a vision of the night he is chased away. The eye that saw him will not see him again. His place will look on him no more. His children must recompense the poor. His own hands must give back his wealth. His bones were full of his youthful vigor, but it will lie down with him in the dust. Though evil is sweet in its mouth, though he hides it under his tongue, though he cannot bear to let it go and holds it in his mouth, his food turns sour in his stomach. It becomes the venom of serpents within him. He swallows riches and vomits them up. God empties it out of his stomach. He sucks the poison of serpents. Fangs of a viper kill him. He will not look at streams, rivers flowing with honey and butter. He gives back what he toiled for without swallowing it. He will not enjoy the riches of his trade, for he has oppressed and abandoned the poor. He has seized a house he did not build, for he knows no satisfaction from his greed. He cannot save himself by his desires. Nothing remains for him to devour, therefore his prosperity will not last. In the fullness of his plenty, he will be distressed. The full force of misery will come upon him. While he is filling his belly, he will send the anger of his wrath against him, and rain it down on him on his flesh. Though he flees from an iron weapon, a bronze bow pierces him through. He pulls, and it comes out of his back, the gleaming point out of his liver. Terrors come upon him. Total darkness waits for his treasures. A fire not fanned will devour him. It will consume what is left in his tent. The heavens will expose his iniquity. The earth will rise up against him. A flood will carry off his house, rushing waters on the day of his wrath. Such is the wicked man's lot from God, the heritage appointed to him by God. Chapter 21. Then Job replied, "Listen carefully to my words. Let this be your consolation. Bear with me as I speak, and after I have spoken, mock on. As for me, is my complaint against man? If so, why should I not be impatient? Look at me and be appalled. Put your hand over your mouth. When I think of it, I am terrified, and my flesh shudders. Why do the wicked go on living, growing old and increasing in power? Their children are established in their presence, their offspring before their eyes. Their homes have peace and are free from fear. No rod of God is on them. His bull breeds without fail. His cow calves and does not miscarry. They send out their little ones like a flock, and their children dance. They sing to the tambourine and harp and rejoice at the sound of the flute. They spend their days in prosperity, and in a moment go down to Sheol. Yet they say to God, 'Leave us alone. We have no desire to know your ways. Who is Shaddai that we should serve him? What would we gain if we prayed to him?' Look, their prosperity is not in their own hands. The counsel of the wicked is far from me. How often is the lamp of the wicked snuffed out, or calamity fallen on them? How often does he allot pain in his anger? How often are they like straw before the wind, like chaff swept away by a storm? You say, 'God stores up the punishment for his children.' Let him repay the wicked so he may know it. Let his own eyes see his ruin. Let him drink the wrath of Shaddai. For what does he care for his family that he leaves behind when the number of his months has come to an end? Can anyone teach God knowledge, since he judges even the highest? One dies in his full strength, completely secure and at ease. His pails are full of milk, his bones are moist with marrow. Yet another dies in bitterness of soul, never having tasted goodness. Together they lie in the dust, and worms cover over them. They behold, I know your thoughts, the schemes by which you wrong me. For you ask, where is the nobleman's house, and the tent where the wicked lived? Have you not asked travelers? Do you not recognize their accounts, that the wicked are spared for the day of calamity, and that they are brought to the day of wrath? Who declares his conduct to his face? Who repays him for what he has done? He is brought to the grave, and a watch is kept over his tomb. The soil is the valley. The soil in the valley is sweet to him. Everyone follows after him, and countless are those before him. So how will your futility comfort me? For your answers remain nothing but falsehood. Chapter 22. Then Eliphaz the Temanite responded, saying, Can a man be useful to God? Can even a wise man benefit him? What pleasure is it to Shaddai if you are righteous? Or what gain if your ways are blameless? Is it because of your reverence that he corrects you and he brings judgment against you? Is not your wickedness great, and is there no end to your iniquity? For you took pledges from your brothers for no reason. You stripped the naked of their clothing. You gave the weary no water to drink, and from the hungry you withhold bread. Though you were a mighty man owning land, as an honored man living on it, you sent widows away empty-handed and crushed the arms of orphans. That is why snares surround you, and why sudden fear terrifies you, or why it is so dark that you cannot see, and why a flood of water covers you. Is not God in the highest heights of heaven, and see the lofty stars, how high they are? Yet you say, what does God know? Does he judge through such thick darkness? Thick clouds veil him, so he does not see, and he walks in the vault of heaven. Will you keep to the old way that wicked men have trod? They have snatched away before their time, their foundations washed away by a river. They said to God, leave us alone. What can Shaddai do to us? Yet he filled their houses with good things, but the counsel of the wicked is far from me. The righteous see and rejoice, the innocent mock them, saying, surely our foes are cut off, and fire consumes their abundance. Reconcile now with him, and have shalom, and in this way prosperity will come to you. Accept instruction from his mouth, and store up his words in your heart. If you return to Shaddai, you will be restored. If you remove iniquity far from your tent, and throw your gold in the dust, and the gold of Ophir to the rocks in the wadis, then Shaddai will be your gold and your precious silver. Surely then Shaddai will be your delight, and you will lift up your face to God. You will pray to him, and he will hear you, and you will fulfill your vows. What you decide will be done, and light will shine on your ways. When people are brought low, and you say, lift them up, then he will save the downcast. He will deliver even one who is not innocent, who will be delivered by the cleanness of your hands. Chapter 23. Then Job answered, even today my complaint is rebellious. His hand is heavy despite my groaning. If only I knew where to find him. If only I could go to his dwelling. I would lay out my case before him and fill my mouth with arguments. I would know with what words he would answer me and understand what he would say to me. Would he oppose me with great power? No, he would only pay attention to me. There the upright can reason with him, and there I would forever be delivered from my judge. But if I go to the east, he is not there. If I go to the west, I do not find him. Then he is in the north. I cannot perceive him. When he turns south, I do not see him. Yet he knows the way that I take. If he tested me, I would come out as gold. My foot has held closely to his steps. I have kept to his way and have not strayed. I have not departed from the commands of his lips. I have treasured the words of his mouth more than my daily bread. He is unchangeable, and who can change him? Whatever his soul desires, he does. For he fulfills the decree against me, and many such things are with him. That is why I am terrified at his presence. When I consider this, I fear him. God has made my heart faint. Shaddai has terrified me. Yet I am not silenced because of the darkness, nor by the thick darkness that covers my face. Chapter 24. Why are times not stored up by Shaddai? And why do those who know him not see his days? Some remove the boundary stones, they steal flocks and pasture them. They drive away the orphan's donkey and take the widow's ox as a pledge. They turn the needy off the path, they force the poor of the land into hiding. Behold, like wild donkeys in the desert, they go about their work, foraging prey in the desert as food for their children. They reap their fodder in the field and glean in the vineyard of the wicked. Without clothing, they spend the night naked, without covering against the cold. They are drenched by mountain rains and hug the rock for lack of shelter. The orphan is snatched from their breast. The infant of the poor is taken as a pledge. They wander about naked without clothing and go hungry while they carry sheaves. They press oil between the terraces. They tread wine presses but are thirsty. From the city, men groan, and the souls of the wounded cry out, yet God charges no one with folly. These are those who rebel against the light, who do not recognize its ways or stay in its paths. The murderer rises with the light, kills the poor and needy, and in the night becomes a thief. The night of the adulterer waits for twilight, thinking, no eye will see me, and he disguises his face. When it is dark, they break into houses, but by day they shut themselves in. They do not know the light, for to all of them morning is as thick darkness. They are familiar with the terrors of thick darkness. He is foam on the surface of water. Their portion of the land is cursed. No one turns toward their vineyards. As heat and drought snatch away the melted snow, so Sheol takes away those who have sinned. The womb forgets him. The worm feeds on him. No longer will he be remembered, but like a tree, wickedness is broken. He feeds on the barren and childless woman, and shows no kindness to the widow, but he drags off the mighty by his power. He raises up, yet no one has assurance of life. He allows him to rest in a sense of security, but his eyes are on their ways. They are exalted for a little while, and then they are gone. They are brought low and gathered up like all others. They are like heads of grain, they wither. Now, if it is not so, who can prove me a liar and reduce my speech to nothing? Chapter 25. Then Bildad the Shuhite answered, dominion and awe are with him. He establishes shalom in his heights. Can his army be counted? On whom does his lights not rise? How then can a man be righteous with God? How can one born of a woman be pure? If even the moon is not bright and the stars are not pure in his eyes, how much less man who is but a maggot, a son of man who is a worm? Chapter 26. Then Job responded and said, how you have helped the powerless, how you have saved the arm without strength, how you have counseled the one without wisdom and revealed your abundant insights. To whom have you uttered words, whose spirit has come from your mouth? The dead tremble, those beneath the water and all that live in them. Sheol is naked before him. Abaddon has no covering. He stretches out the north over the void. He suspends the earth over nothing. He wraps up the waters in his clouds, yet the clouds do not burst under them. He covers the face of the full moon, spreading his clouds over it. He marks out the horizon on the face of the waters for a boundary between light and dark. The pillars of heaven tremble, astounded at his rebuke. By his power he turns up the sea. By his understanding he smashed Rahab. By his ruach the heavens are clear. His hand pierced the fleeing serpent. Indeed, these are but glimpses of his ways. How faint the whimper we hear of him. Who then can understand the thunder of his might? Chapter 26. And Job took up his discourse again. And God lives, who has deprived me of justice. Shaddai, who has made my soul bitter. As long as my breath is still in me, the Ruach of God in my nostrils, my lips will speak no injustice, nor will my tongue must mutter deceit. Far be it from me to say that you are just. Until I die, I will not set aside my integrity. I will maintain my righteousness and will not let go. My conscience will not reproach me for any of my days. May my enemy be like the wicked, my enemy like the unrighteous. For what hope has the godless when he is cut off, when God takes his soul? Will God hear his cry when trouble comes upon him? Will he delight in Shaddai? Will he call upon God at all times? I will teach you about the hand of God. I will not conceal the ways of Shaddai. Look, you have all seen this yourselves. Why then this meaningless talk? This is the portion of a wicked man with God, the inheritance that ruthless men receive from Shaddai. If his children increase, it is for the sword. His offspring will never have enough to eat. Those who survive him will be buried by the plague, and their widows will not weep. Though he piles up silver like dust and clothing like heaps of mortar, then what he lays up the righteous will wear, and the upright will divide the silver. The house he built is like a moth's cocoon, like a hut made for a watchman. He lies down wealthy, but will gather no more. When he opens his eyes, all is gone. Terrors overtake him like a flood. A storm sweeps him away at night. The east wind picks him up, and he is gone. It sweeps him out of his place. It hurls itself at him without pity. As he flees headlong from its land, it claps his hand at him in derision, and he hisses out of his place. Chapter 26. 28. Surely there is a mine for silver, and a place where gold is refined. Iron is taken from the earth, and copper is smelted from ore. Man puts an end to darkness. He searches to the farthest reaches for ore in gloom and blackest darkness. He cuts open a shaft far from dwellings in places forgotten by feet. Far from other people, they dangle back and forth. The earth from which food comes is transformed as by fire. A place whose rocks are sapphires, its dust contains gold. No bird of prey knows the path, nor falcon's eye has seen it. Proud beasts have not set foot on it, and no lion has passed there. Man sets his hand against the flinty rock and overturns mountains by the roots. He carves out tunnels through the rocks. His eye sees every precious thing. He dams up streams from flowing and brings hidden things to light. But where can wisdom be found? Where is the place of understanding? No mortal comprehends its worth. It cannot be found in the land of the living. The deep says, "It is not in me." The sea says, "It is not with me." Pure gold cannot be given for it, nor can its price be weighed in silver. It cannot be weighed in gold from Ophir, in precious onyx or sapphire. Neither gold or crystal can compare with it, nor vessel of fine gold exchanged for it. No mention will be made of coral or jasper. The price of wisdom is more than pure pearls. The topaz of Ethiopia cannot compare to it, nor can it be valued in pure gold. Where then does wisdom come from? Where is the place of understanding? It has been hidden from the eyes of all living things, concealed from the birds of the sky. Abaddon and death say, "With our ears we have heard a rumor of it." God understands its way, and he knows its place. He looks to the ends of the earth and sees everything under the heavens. When he made the force of the wind, he measured out the waters. When he set a limit for the rain and a path for the thunderstorm, then he looked at it and assessed it, established it, and examined it. And he said to mankind, the fear of the Lord, that is wisdom, and to turn away from evil is understanding.